this is the big debate. It's RINO versus MAGA. I'm RINO, Tim's MAGA. And this segment is about what our producer, Chris, labeled the Fox News BS settlement. So, as far as I'm concerned.
So Chris is on my side, I think.
You guys can tag team. You could be Mitsu Arakawa and Dr. Moda. I'll take you on. I'll just be Dick the Bruiser. I won't even have his cousin, the Crusher, with him. But anyway, let's debate this. And I don't even think there's anything to debate. But why don't you go ahead, Tim? And
it's obviously a BS settlement. They picked a Delaware court. How the heck is Fox News going to get a fair jury in a Delaware court? Not to mention, they've been leaking. The Dominion has been leaking their discovery for the past 3 months. I mean, everybody in Delaware thinks, Fox News. Well, they always thought Fox News was a liar, but now they think they're caught. And there's no way that they weren't going to get that $1.17 billion a settlement they originally wanted. So, I mean, Fox got off cheap.
Tim, you insolent slut. Pardon my James Jackson Kilpatrick. So, before we get into the debate, I really wanted to see Brett Baier. Because I watched, after the settlement, and I watched special report, and Brett Baier wasn't on that night. I wonder if that's a coincidence. But I wanted to see him on there announcing the verdict against his company. They didn't even mention it until like Howie Kurtz did something at some point deep into the show, which I didn't even see. All right. So here's the thing. That I don't think the fact that it was in Delaware really is dispositive of the issue. The key to it, I mean, they got basically a half of what they were looking for, and it was a gamble. Because this could have gone up to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court might have said, "Sorry, nothing. You don't get anything, because we're going to protect freedom of speech." And this was newsworthy. What happened was the judge in Delaware, and maybe he's biased, and maybe he was wrong, said that you couldn't use this newsworthy defense or say that it was just political opinion. The problem was they had like 19 instances where Lou Dobbs, and I think Lou Dobbs is the guy, and Maria Bartiromo to some extent, said things that were just untrue. And the real kicker, the real flavor to the whole thing was all the stuff that came out in the depositions, where even the Fox News hosts and the big ones, Hannity and Graham and Carlson, didn't believe that the election was rigged, and didn't even believe the stuff that they were putting out there, even to the point where Carlson wanted a Fox News reporter fired for telling the truth. It was so bad, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't have, snuck their way through on a libel case. So, it's not all that much. It's 20% of Fox's cash on hand. And it's 10 times the value of the Dominion company. So, it kind of works now.
Well, the Dominion company now.
No, they made quite a bit of money on this.
Well, here's a couple things. Okay, first of all, they said, I can't believe some of the BS. Now, did they actually say, I can't believe the BS that we're claiming on the air? Or did they say, I can't believe some of the BS our guests are trying to say, which is a big difference.
No, but here's the thing: you can't necessarily escape it if you just have the guests say it. If you don't try to do anything, and here's Laura Ingraham.
Really, you have to take it. You have to take the side of the opponent.
No, you don't have to. And this is where it's a good question, because this is where it gets murky. I mean, how much this whole newsworthiness thing? I don't even think the Supreme Court has decided on that. I think that's some appellate circuit court made some decision on that, and so it's kind of murky what the duty is of the broadcaster. I mean, the best argument to make is, look, even the Democrats have been claiming that elections have been rigged and that voting machines have been rigged in past elections. You put these people out there, you put him on the air because it's newsworthy. But I think and maybe that would win the day in the Supreme Court of the United States. Fox didn't want to go through the trial where the
they didn't even
comes
want
out
to,
again.
I don't even think they wanted to really investigate it very deeply, because here's the thing. Couldn't they, through discovery, have demanded that Dominion hand over their software and their machines?
Well, here's the thing.
You're claiming
I thought your
machines,
argument was going to be, I thought you were going to put your tinfoil hat on and say, well, truth is defense against libel. Well, this isn't the Star Chamber where the greater the truth, the greater the libel. We can prove that
I've got some tinfoil.
The election.
I've got some tinfoil hat stuff too, but this
right.
this is what I want to. Couldn't they do that? Couldn't they have said, we want the machines, we want to be able to inspect the machines,
because
we want to be able to inspect the software?
Are you sure you could ask for it? But even they didn't believe any of this. Nobody believed it. Laura Ingraham said that Sidney Powell was a nutcase. This is in text messages.
Sure.
So did Tucker Carlson used effing bitch. Okay.
Well, here's the thing. Sidney Powell was saying some nuts stuff. So was Mike Lindell. They were both kind of saying some nutsy stuff. And here's the tinfoil hat coming. Get the tinfoil, everybody. I believe that they had a plant in the Trump campaign that was that claimed to be an intelligence expert that was feeding them the nutsy stuff. And he was doing it so credibly that they were going on the air repeating the nutsy stuff, not realizing that they were nuts.
That's not so tinfoilish, Tim.
Okay.
Foil.
Okay.
Tim, my foil. Speaking of Mike Lindell, so he apparently made an offer ahead of a cyber symposium in August of 21 in South Dakota. He claimed he had data showing Chinese interference and said he would pay $5 million to anyone who could prove the material was not from the previous year's U.S. election. And he called the challenge "Prove Mike wrong." And the other day, a private arbitration panel ruled that someone had proved him wrong. Robert Zeidman, a computer forensics expert and 63-year-old Trump voter from Nevada, was entitled to a $5 million payout from poor Mike Lindell. And Lindell says he's going to fight it in court, but arbitration rulings are binding, and he had agreed to that. So I mean,
and you know what else, Bruce? You know what else? Those pillows don't stay cool.
That's true.
That was my biggest disappointment with Mike Lindell. I don't care what he thought he had and he never had. And I mean, that's why Sidney Powell kept saying the Kraken's coming, the Kraken's coming. She was being teased by somebody, obvioly. Who said,
maybe so. Although there's still people, I mean, like Tom Fitton, you ever see him from Judicial Watch? He is, man, is that guy cut? I mean, for a geek, I mean, he is really cut. He's physically fitting that Tom Fitton. But he said it was a shakedown by Dominion, and this election was rigged 6 ways to Sunday. Well, Tom, I'd amend that to 5 days to ways to Sunday, because you don't have the Dominion voting machines. You just don't have that.
And speaking of Sunday, Dan Bongino's no longer there.
Oh, yeah. He's now. You think that's a result of they don't have any money to pay anybody anymore?
Well, I think probably what he was asking, they're saying, we got to tighten the belt. I think if they would have won the suit, they might have renewed his contract with the price he was naming.
He's the first. There's Tom Fitton. I'm telling you. And look at those sternocleidomastoid muscles. Yeah. I can't even pronounce them right. But
he is a fit one.
No, he is. Bongino, also fit, is going. I'm wondering, this Susan Scott, who was brought in to clean up the O'Reilly mess. Ironically, I mean, O'Reilly is now criticizing his former home, saying he never would have fallen for all this stuff. He might have saved the day for them.
That's right.
And you're wondering if they're going to get rid of this Susan Scott. I mean, that's getting a little too inside baseball because nobody knows who she is. But and of course, you had guys like Jake Tapper, who was actually laughing when he was reading Fox's statement after this. Meanwhile, CNN, of course, had to pay money to Nicholas Sandmann. So,
that was $150 million suit, and whatever the CNN had to pay was not disclosed. It was part of the NDA that CNN.
And CNN doesn't have the cash on hand that Fox does. That's for sure. All right. So judges, I win this debate. Bruce Wolf, Tim Slagle on the Weekly Wrap.